My beloved child, I see the pressure that followed you into this night. I see you still smiling, still moving, still answering people, still doing what needed to be done, while something unseen has been pressing quietly against your heart. I see the way you have tried to explain it away, as tiredness, as stress, as just another long day. But deep within you know this heaviness has been different. It has touched your peace. It has tried to cloud your clarity. It has made prayer feel harder than it should feel. It has made rest feel distant, even when your body was still. It has stood near the doorway of your thoughts and whispered, "Nothing is changing, nothing is breaking, nothing is moving." But I am telling you now, before tomorrow arrives, the thing that has been resisting you will begin losing its grip. I do not send this word to frighten you, my child. I send it to awaken you. I send it because I will not allow you to carry yesterday's heaviness into a new day I have already marked with mercy. I see what followed you from conversation to conversation, from room to room, from one quiet moment into another. I see the heaviness that tried to sit on your chest when no one was watching. I see the thoughts that returned again and again, not because they had authority, but because repetition tried to make them sound true. I see the fear that disguised itself as wisdom. I see the delay that tried to make you doubt my timing. I see the emotional exhaustion that tried to convince you that you were losing strength, when in truth you were standing under pressure longer than many could have endured. But listen to me, beloved. Resistance has looked bigger than it truly is, because it has been fighting from shadows. It has not been standing in the light of my presence. It has been hiding behind old wounds, repeated disappointments, unfinished conversations, unanswered questions, and the quiet places where you grew tired of hoping. It has used fog to seem like a mountain. It has used noise to seem like authority. It has used delay to seem like denial. But delay is not denial when my hand is still working. Silence is not absence when my spirit is still near. Weariness is not defeat when your Father is still holding you. You are standing at a threshold tonight, my precious one. Do not treat this as just another message passing through your ears. This is a call to agreement. This is a moment where heaven is asking your heart to stop agreeing with the pressure and begin agreeing with my promise. Before the next day fully opens, I am calling you to recognize what has been pressing against you, not so you can fear it, but so you can stop feeding it with your agreement. The resistance is not greater than my word over you. The resistance is not stronger than my peace within you. The resistance is not permitted to follow you endlessly when I have already begun exposing its hidden grip. So even now, as this word begins, make a small act of faith. Press like as a sign of agreement that resistance is losing power in your life. Subscribe if your soul needs steady, prayer-filled encouragement in the days ahead, because I am drawing you into a place where your heart will be strengthened again and again. And write this declaration in the comments. Before tomorrow, resistance loses power in my life. Do not write it as a casual sentence. Write it as agreement. Write it as a line drawn in the spirit. Write it as your refusal to carry the same heaviness into the mercy I have prepared for the morning. And if you are weary, if your heart feels pressed, if you have been fighting quietly and you do not even know how to explain the battle anymore, leave your prayer request in the comments. Let others stand with you before we go deeper. You were never meant to fight hidden pressure alone. I see you, my child. I know where it has touched you. I know how long it has pressed. And I am already moving before tomorrow arrives. My child, the resistance has become loud because its time is short. Do not mistake volume for victory. Do not mistake pressure for permission. Do not mistake the shaking around you for the absence of my hand. There are moments when what has opposed you grows restless because it senses what I am doing before your eyes can fully see it. It feels the ground shifting beneath its feet. It feels the authority it pretended to have beginning to weaken. It feels the door of yesterday beginning to close, and so it raises its voice, hoping you will agree with fear before you agree with me. This is why the heaviness seemed to rise suddenly. This is why delays repeated themselves when you had already obeyed. This is why small arguments tried to steal your peace, why confusion tried to enter decisions that once felt clear, why sleep became restless, why old memories returned like unwelcome visitors, why discouragement came without explanation. Why after you said yes to me, it felt as if something immediately stood in your way. Not because you are weak, but because you are standing near a door. Not because you failed, but because something false is being shaken loose. not because heaven is silent, but because I am working where your eyes cannot yet see. I see the resistance that followed you into your thoughts, into your prayers, into your decisions, and into the quiet places where no one else noticed. I see how it tried to interrupt your focus. I see how it tried to make your obedience feel costly beyond measure. I see how it whispered, "Turn back, slow down, doubt this, protect yourself, do not hope too much." I see the way it tried to dress itself as wisdom when it was really fear. I see how it tried to call itself caution when it was really intimidation. I see how it tried to call itself realism when it was really unbelief reaching for your agreement. But listen to me, beloved. What is being exposed cannot continue hiding in the same way. What is being named cannot keep ruling from the shadows. What is being brought into my light is already losing the secrecy that gave it strength. I am not showing you these patterns to overwhelm you. I am showing you so you will stop bowing to them as though they are permanent. The resistance wants you to believe it has always been there and always will be there. It wants you to think this heaviness is your personality, this delay is your portion, this discouragement is your future, this confusion is your normal. But I am telling you, my precious one, it is not your identity, it is not your inheritance. It is not the voice that has the final word over your tomorrow. Before tomorrow arrives is not a call to panic, it is a call to surrender. It is not me rushing you in fear, it is me rescuing you with mercy. I am inviting you to hand me the night before it becomes another cycle. I am inviting you to stop sleeping beside the same burden, waking beside the same dread, walking into the same pressure, and calling it life. Tonight is not just the end of a day. Tonight is a place of agreement. Tonight is where you say, "Father, I see what has been pressing, and I will not make a home for it anymore." Tonight is where you let my spirit touch the hidden places where resistance tried to fasten itself quietly. Do you understand what is happening, my child? The pressure is not proof that you are defeated. It is evidence that something is being confronted. When a chain is being pulled loose, there is often noise. When a root is being removed, the ground may tremble. When a lie is losing its resting place, it may speak louder for a moment because it knows silence is coming. Do not give your fear to the noise. Give your faith to my voice. Do not interpret the intensity as my absence. Interpret it as the exposure of what can no longer remain concealed. You have wondered why the battle seemed to increase after you prayed. You wondered why the heaviness returned after you decided to forgive. You wondered why confusion rose after you chose obedience. You wondered why old pain knocked again after you began healing. My child, resistance often returns to test whether you still belong to the old agreement. It comes looking for the door it used before. It comes listening for the words you used to speak over yourself. It comes searching for the wound where it once planted fear. But I am standing there now. My light is there now. My truth is there now. And what once entered quietly will not pass unnoticed under my gaze. So breathe, beloved. Do not let this loud moment convince you that nothing is changing. Much is changing. More than you know is shifting beneath the surface. I am breaking the pattern before it follows you into another morning. I am exposing the grip before it disguises itself as another ordinary day. I am drawing your heart away from agreement with pressure and into agreement with freedom. The resistance is loud because it is losing ground. The shadow is restless because dawn is near. And before tomorrow arrives, you will know again that I have not stepped away. I have been working in the hidden place, loosening what tried to hold you. My child, now I want you to look deeper than the things around you. I know you have been tempted to believe the battle is only the person who misunderstood you, the bill that has not been paid, the door that did not open, the answer that has not come, the call that was not returned, the delay that keeps stretching longer than you expected. I know the visible things have been loud. I know they have stood in front of your eyes and demanded your attention. But the battle was not around you first. It was pressing inside you. It was reaching for your peace before it ever touched your circumstances. It was reaching for your faith before it ever raised its voice through another person. It was reaching for your spiritual breath before the outward pressure became clear. Do you see it now, beloved? The enemy did not need to destroy everything to weaken you. Sometimes it only tried to make prayer feel heavy. Sometimes it only tried to make worship feel distant. Sometimes it only tried to make you wake with dread before anything had even happened. Sometimes it only tried to make you swallow tears before sleep, and then rise the next morning as if nothing inside you had broken open in the night. Sometimes it only tried to make you smile while feeling hollow, help others while feeling unsupported, answer everyone while silently wondering who would notice that your own heart was tired. That is why I am bringing light here, not to shame you, not to accuse you, not to tell you that you should have been stronger. I am showing you the hidden place because what remains hidden keeps feeding what I am ready to break. The resistance had power, not because it was stronger than me, and not because my hand was absent from your life, but because it found tender places inside you that still needed healing. It found old disappointments that had not been fully surrendered. It found fears you tolerated because they sounded familiar. It found wounds you learned to manage instead of placing them in my hands. It found questions you carried alone for so long that they began sounding like truth. A little fear tolerated, a little resentment rehearsed, a little comparison entertained, a little prayer postponed, a little disappointment allowed to speak louder than my promise. My child, the enemy never needs a wide open door when a small crack is left unguarded. And I say this tenderly because I know how those cracks formed. I saw the moment you were hurt and told yourself it did not matter. I saw the moment you were overlooked and tried to convince yourself you were fine. I saw the moment you prayed and did not see the answer you expected, and something in you quietly whispered, maybe I should stop expecting too much. I saw the moment you gave strength to someone else while your own soul was asking for rest. I saw the moment you chose silence because explaining your pain felt too exhausting. I saw the moment disappointment knocked, and instead of driving it out with my word, you let it sit near the doorway of your thoughts because you were too tired to fight. But listen to me, my beloved child. I am not condemning your tiredness. I am not angry that your soul became weary under pressure. I do not look at your trembling and call it failure. I do not look at your tears and call them weakness. I see the weight you carried. I see the nights you had no words. I see the prayers that came out only as breath. I see the moments when all you could say was, Father, help me, and even that felt like it came from a place deep under the heaviness. I received those prayers. I heard those breaths. I was near when you thought you were only enduring. I was not waiting for you to perform strength. I was waiting for you to let me touch the place where strength had been leaking away. This is why I am turning your attention inward tonight. Not inward so you can become trapped in yourself, but inward so my spirit can reveal what the noise outside has been hiding. The issue was never only the closed door. It was the way the closed door tried to teach your heart that I was withholding goodness from you. The issue was never only the delay. It was the way delay tried to make you question my timing. The issue was never only the person who left, spoke, accused, ignored, or disappointed you. It was the way that wound tried to convince you that you were not protected, not valued, not seen. The outward thing was a messenger of pressure, but the inward grip was where the battle wanted to live. And tonight I am placing my light on that grip. I am showing you where your peace has been squeezed. I am showing you where your faith has been tired. I am showing you where your expectation became afraid to rise again. I am showing you where you began bracing for disappointment instead of preparing for my goodness. Not because I want you to become afraid of your own heart, but because I am healing your heart. Not because I want you to search for darkness everywhere, but because I want you to recognize what has been stealing from you quietly. When I reveal a wound, I reveal it as a physician. When I expose a crack, I expose it as a builder. When I uncover a hidden agreement, I uncover it as a father who has already prepared freedom. So do not say, this is just how I am. Do not call heaviness your nature. Do not call anxiety your portion. Do not call dread your wisdom. Do not call numbness your protection. Do not call spiritual exhaustion your normal. You are mine. You were not created to live with your soul pressed down and your breath shortened by invisible hands. You were not created to smile while your inner life slowly grows silent. You were not created to expect defeat before the morning even arrives. You were created to hear my voice, to walk in my peace, to rest under my covering, to discern what is trying to enter, and to close the door before it builds a throne in your thoughts. The resistance loses power the moment you stop calling its grip your identity. It loses power when you say, Father, this fear is not mine to keep. It loses power when you say, "This resentment will not be rehearsed another night." It loses power when you say, "This comparison will not write my worth." It loses power when you say, "This disappointment will not speak louder than the promise of God." It loses power when you bring the inward pressure into my presence and refuse to protect the thing that has been draining you. Beloved, I am not only dealing with what is around you, I am dealing with what has been pressing within you. I am not only changing the circumstances you can name, I am restoring the peace you almost stopped expecting. I am not only rebuking resistance at the door, I am healing the place inside where it kept finding agreement. And as I heal that place, its voice will become weaker, its access will become smaller, its grip will begin to loosen. Because once my light touches the hidden place, the darkness can no longer pretend it belongs there. Do you remember David before Goliath, my child? Do you remember that before the valley heard his voice, before Israel saw the giant fall, before the stone left the sling and the body of intimidation hit the ground, David had already met me in hidden places where no crowd was watching. He had already learned my faithfulness in fields where no one applauded him. He had already stood with trembling hands and a beating heart before the lion and the bear. He had already discovered that I was not only God in public victories, but God in private danger, God in lonely obedience, God in the unseen place where a young shepherd had to trust me with no army behind him and no human praise waiting for him. Beloved, this is not only David's story, this is a mirror for you tonight. You think you are standing before resistance unprepared because the noise has been loud, because the pressure has been close, because the thing in front of you has raised its voice and tried to name your future. But I am telling you, you have been trained in hidden places. You have faced private lions of fear that tried to devour your peace. You have faced private bears of delay that tried to tear apart your hope. You have faced nights where tears came quietly, and no one knew how much strength it took for you to rise again. You have faced disappointment and still prayed. You have faced uncertainty and still kept moving. You have faced weariness and still whispered my name. I did not waste any of it. The enemy wants you to remember the giant and forget the field. It wants you to remember the shout and forget the deliverance. It wants you to remember how big the threat looks now and forget how many times I have already kept you when no one else saw the battle. But I have been with you in the field. I was there when fear circled you like a lion. I was there when delay came against you like a bear. I was there when your hands felt weak, when your heart felt cornered, when your prayers were not beautiful words but broken breath. I was there when you thought you were only surviving, but I was teaching your spirit that my help can arrive in places where no human witness is present. Do you see, my child? Goliath did not begin the battle with a sword. He began it with a voice. He shouted before David stepped forward. He used words before he used weapons. He tried to plant fear in the hearts of those who had forgotten their covenant. Day after day, his voice filled the valley, and the people who belonged to me listened until intimidation became familiar. That is what resistance has tried to do with you. It has shouted long enough that you began to expect its sound. It has repeated the same accusation, the same dread, the same threat, the same what if, the same not yet, the same you cannot, the same nothing will change, hoping repetition would make a lie feel like truth. But the noise of resistance is not the final word. The shout of the giant is not prophecy. The size of the threat is not authority. The valley may echo with intimidation, but heaven has already spoken over you. David did not win because Goliath was small. He won because covenant was greater than the threat standing in front of him. He won because he remembered who I was when others only saw what stood against them. He won because his confidence did not come from armor that did not fit him, or from approval that arrived late, or from a battlefield that looked safe. His confidence came from this holy memory: the Lord delivered me then, and the Lord will deliver me now. My precious one, I want that memory to rise in you before tomorrow arrives. Not the memory of defeat, not the memory of who left, not the memory of what failed, not the memory of the prayer that seemed delayed. I want holy memory to rise. Remember the night you thought you would not have strength, and I carried you. Remember the season when you did not know how provision would come, and I made a way. Remember the moment when grief tried to swallow your voice, and still my spirit kept a small flame alive inside you. Remember when fear came like a lion, and it did not consume you. Remember when delay came like a bear, and it did not destroy your promise. You are still here because I have been faithful in battles no one saw. This is why the resistance is shouting now. It wants to make you forget your training. It wants to make you believe this moment is bigger than everything I have already brought you through. It wants you to rehearse the voice of the giant until your own voice becomes silent. But before tomorrow, you must stop rehearsing what intimidation has said. Stop repeating the sentence that fear gave you. Stop lying awake with the giant's voice playing again and again in your mind. Stop letting the threat preach to your imagination. Return to my voice. Return to the voice of your father. Return to the one who was with you in the field before anyone knew your name. Do you see, my child? David's hidden battles were not interruptions to his destiny. They were preparation. The lion was not wasted. The bear was not wasted. The lonely field was not wasted. The overlooked years were not wasted. And your hidden battles have not been wasted either. The tears you cried in secret were not empty. The prayers you prayed while feeling weak were not ignored. The obedience you offered while no one praised you was not unnoticed. The mornings you rose with pressure still on you and chose to keep trusting me were not meaningless. I was forming something in you that fear could not understand. I was teaching your spirit how to stand when intimidation speaks. And now I am calling you to stand, not in panic, but in remembrance. Stand with the memory of my faithfulness. Stand with the knowledge that you are not abandoned in the valley. Stand with the truth that the same God who met you in hidden battles is standing with you in this visible confrontation. The giant may be loud, but it is not eternal. The resistance may look tall, but it is not sovereign. The pressure may feel close, but it is not closer than I am. I have not brought you this far to let intimidation write the ending. So tonight, before tomorrow opens, let the giant's voice lose its place in your thoughts. Let the threats fall silent before my promise. Let the memory of my faithfulness become louder than the memory of your fear. Say within your heart, the Lord was with me then, and the Lord is with me now. Say it until your soul breathes again. Say it until the valley no longer feels like a graveyard of hope, but a place where intimidation must fall. You are not unprepared, beloved. You have been trained by hidden deliverance. You have been strengthened through private battles. And the resistance that shouted to frighten you will learn again that my covenant over you is greater than every giant standing in your way. My child, now that I have shown you the voice of the giant, now that I have revealed the hidden grip, now that I have reminded you of the fields where I already kept you, I am asking you for a response before the new morning opens. I am not only promising relief, I am calling you into agreement with freedom. I am asking you to close the small doors that allowed the same resistance to keep returning, the little openings that looked harmless, the quiet places where your peace kept leaking out drop by drop while you wondered why your soul felt empty. I do not show you these things to shame you, my child, but to free you before another day begins. I do not place my finger on the small crack to accuse you. I place my light there because I am ready to repair what has been left exposed. The enemy does not always enter through rebellion that looks obvious. Sometimes it enters through conversations you keep returning to because they make your bitterness feel justified. Sometimes it enters through scrolling that seems harmless, but leaves you comparing your life, your body, your progress, your family, your season, your calling, until gratitude grows quiet and heaviness begins speaking again. Sometimes it enters through words you speak over yourself when you are tired. Nothing ever changes for me. I always lose. I am always forgotten. I will never be free. Beloved, those words may have felt like honesty, but they became agreements with the pressure I am breaking. So tonight, I am calling you gently but clearly. Close the door. Close the door to the conversation that keeps reopening the wound. Close the door to the memory you keep rehearsing until it feels more powerful than my promise. Close the door to unforgiveness, even if your heart can only begin with a trembling whisper that says, Father, help me release what I cannot release alone. Close the door to secret despair, the kind that sits quietly behind your smile and says, there is no point in hoping again. Close the door to fear-filled sentences that have been shaping your expectation before tomorrow even arrives. Close the door to the habit of preparing for disappointment, as though disappointment is your shepherd. I am your shepherd, my child. I am the one who restores your soul. And hear me tenderly. Closing these doors is not performance. It is not you proving that you are strong enough. It is not you earning my love by cleaning yourself up before you come near. Repentance is return. It is the turning of your face back toward mine. It is the moment you stop defending what has been draining you and say, Father, I am coming back under your covering. It is coming back to prayer, not with polished words, but with an honest heart. It is coming back to stillness, even if your thoughts are still noisy. It is coming back to trust, even if your emotions need time to catch up. It is coming back to the place where my voice becomes louder than the voice of the resistance. Do you know how many doors begin to close when you simply pause in my presence? When you stop moving long enough to breathe with me, the panic loses its rhythm. When you name the thing that has been pressing you, it loses the advantage of hiding in fog. When you say, Father, this is fear, and I surrender it to you, fear is brought into the light. When you say, Father, this is bitterness, and I do not want it to become my home, bitterness begins losing its seat. When you say, Father, this is comparison, this is despair, this is resentment, this is dread, this is the lie that nothing will ever change, you are not confessing defeat. You are handing me the key to the room where the resistance has been returning. Before tomorrow arrives, do this simple thing with me. Pause, breathe, place your hand over your heart if you need to remember that I am near. Speak the name of the resistance, not as one who bows to it, but as one who brings it before my throne. Say, Father, I surrender fear. Father, I surrender bitterness. Father, I surrender the outcome I cannot control. Father, I surrender the words I spoke against myself. Father, I surrender the wound I kept touching because I did not know how to let it heal. Then forgive where forgiveness is possible tonight, and where your heart still trembles, ask me to begin the work. I do not despise a beginning. I do not reject a weak yes. I can enter through a whisper that is turned toward me. Release the outcome, beloved. You have carried it long enough. Release the need to know how I will move. Release the need to explain your pain to everyone who misread you. Release the need to rehearse every possible disappointment before it happens. Ask me to guard the night. Ask me to stand at the doorway of your thoughts. Ask me to cover your dreams, your mind, your body, your home, your family, your decisions, your tomorrow. I am not far from the one who returns. I am not slow to cover the child who calls on me. I am not careless with a heart that has been bruised by pressure. The small doors must close before the new morning opens, because I am not only bringing you into another day, I am bringing you into cleaner agreement. I am bringing you into protected peace. I am teaching you to stop giving access to what I already exposed. And when these doors begin to close, the resistance will lose the pathways it used to drain you. The conversation will not have the same hook. The comparison will not have the same poison. The fear-filled words will not have the same authority. The old despair will knock and find no welcome place. And as you surrender what has been leaking your strength, I will begin lifting what crushed you. And as you stop carrying what was never meant to rest on your shoulders, my child, you will begin to feel the first quiet lifting, not always as thunder, not always as an instant change in every circumstance, not always as every question answered before your eyes close tonight. But there will be a holy loosening inside you, a place in your chest that has been tight for so long beginning to breathe again, a space in your thoughts where fear used to speak without interruption now being interrupted by my peace. You are not alone. Hear me again. You are not alone. I see it all. I have not forgotten you. I will take care of the rest. I know how long you have tried to be strong. I know how many times you carried the concern into prayer, then picked it back up before you walked away. I know how many nights you told yourself, I have to figure this out, while your body was weary and your spirit was asking for shelter. I know the weight of being the one who holds things together, the one who checks on others, the one who keeps moving, the one who keeps smiling, the one who keeps answering. While inside there has been a quiet cry saying, Father, I am tired. My beloved child, that tiredness is not failure. It is not proof that you are weak. It is the signal that you were never created to carry spiritual resistance in your own strength. You were not made to wrestle fear all night and still call it responsibility. You were not made to hold anxiety like it is wisdom. You were not made to manage pressure until your prayer life becomes a whisper under the weight. You were not made to guard every future door by yourself, solve every hidden battle by yourself, interpret every delay by yourself, or defend your heart against every accusation by yourself. I am your Father. I am your refuge. I am your shield. I am the strength beneath your surrender, and when you let go, I lift. When you stop striving, I move. When you stop arguing with fear, I speak peace. When you surrender the night, I guard the morning. Do you understand what happens when you finally place the burden in my hands and do not keep reaching back for it? The resistance begins to lose its grip, not because the outward circumstance always disappears in a moment, but because its inward throne is being removed. The situation may still need my timing, the answer may still unfold step by step, the door may still open in a way you do not yet understand, but the panic that ruled your emotions begins to weaken. The heaviness that followed you into sleep begins to break. The dread that greeted you before morning begins to lose its authority. The prayer that felt trapped beneath exhaustion begins rising again, not as performance but as breath returning to a child who has come home. I do not say this to make you pretend there is no battle. I say this so you will stop believing the battle is yours to carry alone. There is a difference between standing in faith and dragging a weight I asked you to release. There is a difference between being watchful and being tormented. There is a difference between obedience and striving. Some of what you called strength was really survival. Some of what you called responsibility was really fear wearing a serious face. Some of what you called preparation was really dread trying to rehearse tomorrow before grace arrived. Beloved, lay it down. Let your Father be God in the place where you have been trying to be your own protector. I see it all. I see the pressure no one notices. I see the thoughts you fight quietly. I see the way your heart braces when a message arrives, when a memory returns, when silence stretches too long, when the same worry comes back and tries to sit beside you again. I see the prayers you did not finish because tears interrupted them. I see the words you wanted to say but swallowed because you were too tired to explain. I see the way you have carried people, outcomes, fears, regrets, responsibilities, and spiritual resistance until your own soul felt buried underneath the weight. I have not forgotten you. I have not misplaced your promise. I have not ignored your tears. I have not turned away from the night you are walking through. Now let me lift what crushed you. Let me lift the accusation that told you you should be farther by now. Let me lift the shame that tried to attach itself to your weariness. Let me lift the fear that said if you stop worrying, everything will fall apart. Let me lift the need to understand every movement before you trust me. Let me lift the old sentence that keeps telling you nothing will change. Let me lift the pressure from your breathing, from your sleep, from your dreams, from your prayer, from your expectation. I will take care of the rest, not because you have no part to play, but because your part begins with surrender, not control. And watch how my relief comes, my child. It may begin as one quiet breath that does not tremble. It may begin as the ability to close your eyes without rehearsing fear. It may begin as a small warmth in the place that felt numb. It may begin as a sudden desire to pray again, even if all you say is, "Father, stay near." It may begin as confidence returning in drops, as hope rising carefully, as your spirit realizing the resistance is still making noise, but no longer holding the same power over your inner life. This is my hand at work. This is not weakness. This is not denial. This is the beginning of divine relief. The enemy wanted you exhausted enough to confuse surrender with defeat. But surrender to me is not defeat. Surrender is where my strength comes underneath you. Surrender is where your hands open and mine begin to move. Surrender is where the burden loses its hiding place. Surrender is where the pressure discovers that you are no longer its only point of contact, because now it must answer to the one who covers you. When you stop carrying it alone, I begin lifting what crushed you, and when I lift, the weight cannot command your soul the way it did before. So rest under my covering tonight. Do not keep pacing through possibilities I have not asked you to solve. Do not keep building arguments against fears I have already exposed. Do not keep holding the door shut with trembling hands when I am standing at the doorway with authority. You are not alone. I see it all. I have not forgotten you. I will take care of the rest. Let those words become a blanket over your mind, a guard around your heart, a lamp beside your bed, a wall between your spirit and the pressure that tried to follow you into tomorrow. And as my peace begins coming over you, do not call it small. Do not call it ordinary. Do not call it emotional relief only. The peace I release is warfare. It is the evidence that My authority is replacing the pressure that ruled your heart. It is the sign that resistance is losing its grip on your sleep, your confidence, your prayer, your breath, your expectation. The storm may still speak outside, but it will not have the same throne inside. The morning may still require faith, but it will not meet the same frightened heart. I am lifting what crushed you, beloved, and beneath your surrender, my strength is rising. And now, my child, as this peace begins to come over you, do not mistake it for weakness. Do not think you are giving up because your soul is no longer shaking the way it was. Do not think you have become passive because you are no longer rehearsing every fear. The peace I am releasing over you is not escape. It is not denial. It is not pretending the pressure never came. It is a wall. It is my protection rising around your mind and heart, stone by stone, breath by breath, promise by promise, until the place that was open to torment becomes guarded by my presence. There is a peace that the world offers, and it depends on everything changing before the heart can rest. It says, I will be calm when the answer comes. I will breathe when the door opens. I will trust when the problem disappears. I will sleep when every voice is silent. But that is not the peace I give. My peace does not wait for every enemy to vanish before it begins to rule. My peace rises in the middle of the valley. My peace stands while the giant is still talking. My peace breathes where fear expected you to collapse. Not peace because every problem disappeared, but peace because the resistance no longer controls your inner world. Not peace because there is no battle, but peace because I am Lord over the place inside you where the battle tried to build a throne. Do you see what I am doing, beloved? I am rebuilding what pressure cracked. I am placing my truth where fear left fractures. I am setting my word like strong stones around your thoughts. I am pouring oil over what pain dried out. The places in you that felt brittle, weary, numb, and empty are not beyond my reach. I know how to anoint the dry place until it softens again. I know how to bring warmth back to the heart that has been bracing for too long. I know how to let the first light of a new morning touch the soul before the sun has even risen outside your window. This quiet within you is not small. It is dawn, beginning inside the hidden rooms of your spirit. And I know the question that still tries to move beneath the surface. What if it comes back tomorrow? What if I wake and the same heaviness is waiting? What if the same thought returns? What if the same pressure knocks again? My child, I hear that fear before you even speak it. I do not condemn you for asking. You have known repeated resistance. You have watched peace come in moments and then felt pressure return with another voice. But this time, I am not only giving you temporary relief, I am teaching you discernment. I am training your spirit to recognize what used to enter unnoticed. I am teaching you to know the difference between my warning and the enemy's accusation, between wisdom and torment, between conviction and shame, between preparation and dread. The resistance may try to knock again, but it will not find you unaware in the same way. The old sentence may try to return, but it will not sound as believable as it once did. The pressure may whisper, "This will never change," but I am teaching you to answer before that sentence settles into your bones. Renounce it, my child. Renounce the words that chained your expectation to yesterday. Renounce the sentence, "This will never change." Renounce the agreement that said your peace must always be stolen, your hope must always be delayed, your night must always be heavy, your tomorrow must always carry the same fear. That sentence did not come from me. It came from resistance trying to sound like reality. Replace it with my truth. Say, God is breaking the grip of resistance before tomorrow arrives. Say it softly if your voice is tired. Say it through tears if your heart is still tender. Say it not as performance, but as agreement. God is breaking the grip of resistance before tomorrow arrives. God is rebuilding the walls of my peace. God is guarding my mind. God is covering my heart. God is teaching me to recognize what once drained me. God is placing His strength beneath my surrender. Let your mouth come into agreement with heaven, because some chains loosen when my children stop repeating the language of captivity and begin speaking the language of my promise. Do not despise the small beginning of peace. A steady breath can be a sign of victory. A quiet mind can be a sign that the wall is rising. A night where you do not answer every fear can be a sign that authority is being restored. A moment of stillness and prayer can be a lamp lit again. The enemy wanted you frantic because frantic hearts are easier to steer. It wanted you exhausted because exhausted hearts often accept sentences they would reject in strength. But as my peace surrounds you, you will begin to notice what no longer pulls you as quickly, what no longer pierces as deeply, what no longer commands your attention as easily. That is not weakness. That is restored authority. And this peace will not end with you. When I rebuild peace in my child, that peace begins to touch the rooms they enter. It begins to touch your home, your conversations, your decisions, your prayers, your silence, your responses, your waiting. You will not carry the same sharpness into tomorrow. You will not answer every pressure from the wound. You will not make every decision from panic. The oil I pour over you will begin to move through you. The wall I raise around you will teach you how to pray walls around others. The light I bring into your night will become a lamp for someone else, still sitting in darkness. So receive this peace as protection, my beloved child. Let it stand around your thoughts. Let it guard the doorway of your heart. Let it cover your sleep. Let it meet tomorrow before fear does. The resistance is losing power, not because you became strong in yourself, but because my authority is rising where torment once ruled. I am rebuilding. I am anointing. I am guarding. I am teaching you to stand in peace that cannot be explained by circumstances. And before tomorrow arrives, let this be your agreement. The grip is breaking, the wall is rising, and my peace is taking back the ground inside you. And now, my beloved child, understand this with a deeper peace. I am not only breaking the grip for your sake. I am not only lifting the weight so you can breathe again. I am not only building a wall around your thoughts, so tonight will not devour your strength. I am doing something more holy than relief alone. I am turning the very place where resistance pressed you into oil. I am taking what tried to drain you, isolate you, silence you, and bury your prayer, and I am making it part of the testimony that will strengthen someone else who is still fighting in the dark. Do not believe the lie that this season was wasted because it was painful. Do not believe the lie that the tears you cried in secret have no place in my purpose. Do not believe the lie that the nights you barely made it through were only evidence of weakness. My child, there are tears I gather. There are wounds I anoint. There are hidden battles I use to deepen compassion until your prayer no longer comes from theory, but from mercy. The pressure that tried to make you cold will become the reason your heart stays tender. The resistance that tried to make you bitter will become the place where I teach you to intercede. The heaviness that tried to close your mouth will become the reason your words carry warmth when another soul is trembling. Do you remember Joseph, my child? Do you remember the young man who carried a promise, yet found himself betrayed, sold, accused, forgotten, and confined? From the outside, it looked as though his life had been interrupted. It looked as though the pit had swallowed the dream. It looked as though the prison had canceled the promise. It looked as though the betrayal of his brothers had the final word. But what was meant to bury him became the path through which many were preserved. What was meant for evil, I turned into rescue. What looked like delay became preparation. What looked like abandonment became positioning. What looked like a wound became wisdom. Do you see, beloved? Joseph did not understand every step while he was inside it. He did not see the storehouses while he was in the pit. He did not see nations being fed while he was falsely accused. He did not see reconciliation while he was forgotten by men. But I was moving beneath what others could not interpret. I was building something in the dark that would one day become bread for the hungry, and so it is with you. The resisted season you have walked through will not end as empty suffering. I know how to take the place that pressed you and make it a place of preservation for others. You are not merely a tired person trying to survive another night. You are my vessel. You are a lamp I am lighting again. You are a bridge I am strengthening for souls who do not yet know how to cross their own dark water. You are a voice I am restoring, so that when another weary heart says, I do not know if I can keep going, you will not answer from pride. You will answer from oil. You will answer from the place where I met you. You will answer with gentleness because you remember what pressure feels like. You will pray with patience because you know what it is to need mercy before morning. This is why the enemy fought so hard to isolate you. It wanted your wound to become a wall that separated you from people. I am making it a doorway of compassion. It wanted your pain to become proof that no one understands. I am making it testimony that tells someone else, God sees you even here. It wanted your exhaustion to make you withdraw from prayer. I am making your renewed prayer a covering for family, for friends, for strangers, for the ones who are still smiling while their spiritual breath grows faint. Resistance loses power not only when you are relieved, my child, but when the thing meant to isolate you becomes a testimony that releases faith in others. So tonight, as my peace rises around you, let your heart become aware of someone else, not with pressure, not with guilt, not as another burden placed upon your shoulders, but as an overflow of the oil I am pouring over you. Bring one person to mind, one name, one face, one soul who needs peace before tomorrow. It may be someone in your family who carries more than they say. It may be a friend whose laughter hides a tired heart. It may be someone who has grown quiet, someone who is angry, someone who is afraid, someone who is fighting a battle they have not known how to name. Place them before me now, softly, quietly, honestly. Say within your heart, Father, cover them tonight. Father, let your peace reach them before fear does. Father, break the grip of resistance over their mind. Father, close the doors that have drained their strength. Father, let them know they are not alone. You do not need many words for this prayer to matter. A whisper lifted in love can become a lamp in another person's night. A name placed before me in faith can become a seed of rescue. A tear shed for someone else can become oil. I hear intercession that no one else hears. I move through prayers that never become public. And as you pray for them, something inside you will begin to understand. You are not abandoned in your pressure. You are being met, healed, taught, strengthened, and filled. I am not glorifying the wound. I am redeeming it. I am not calling the attack good. I am showing that the attack does not have authority to decide the ending. I am the one who brings oil from crushing. I am the one who brings bread from hidden storehouses. I am the one who turns pits into pathways, prisons into preparation, tears into testimony, and midnight prayers into shelter for someone else. Your wound will become oil for someone else's night, my child. The place where you almost gave up will become the place from which you speak life. The fear that once chased you will become the reason you recognize fear in another and pray with authority. The silence that once covered your pain will become a voice of mercy. The darkness that tried to swallow you will become the background against which my light shines clearer. And before tomorrow arrives, know this. Resistance is losing power because it could not keep your pain isolated. I am turning your survival into testimony. I am turning your testimony into intercession. I am turning your intercession into a bridge of peace for others still waiting for dawn. Now, my beloved child, do not let this word remain only something you heard. Let it become agreement in your mouth. Let it move from comfort into confession, from hidden hope into spoken faith, from passive endurance into holy surrender. I am not asking you to manufacture power. I am not asking you to force yourself to feel strong. I am guiding you into agreement with what I am already doing. When you speak truth under my covering, you are not trying to convince heaven to move. You are joining what heaven has already begun. So before tomorrow arrives, speak slowly. Speak with your heart open, even if your voice trembles. Speak not because fear has disappeared, but because fear no longer gets to be the only voice in the room. Speak not because every question has been answered, but because I am answering the deepest question first. You are mine, you are covered, and the resistance pressing against you is losing power. Say, I belong to God. Say it again, my child, I belong to God. I am not owned by fear. I am not ruled by pressure. I am not abandoned in this night. I belong to the one who sees me, covers me, restores me, and fights for me. Resistance will not rule my night. Anxiety will not write the story of my morning. Shame will not sit on my chest and call itself truth. Confusion will not command my decisions. The weight of yesterday will not be carried into tomorrow as an inheritance. Now renounce the hidden agreements, beloved. Renounce the agreement with fear that said you must stay braced for disaster. Renounce the agreement with delay that said nothing will ever change. Renounce the agreement with shame that said your weariness disqualified you. Renounce resentment that quietly hardened the place where I wanted to pour oil. Renounce confusion that made my voice seem far away. Renounce spiritual dryness as your permanent condition. Renounce the lie that I have forgotten you. That lie did not come from me. I have never forgotten you. I have never turned away from your tears. I have never missed one movement of your heart. Say, my peace is being restored. My sleep is covered. My thoughts are being guarded. My body is coming out from under the pressure it has carried. My home is being filled with the presence of God. My family is being covered by mercy. My finances are not outside the reach of my Father's hand. My decisions will not be led by panic. My prayer life is breathing again. My ears are opening to hear God's voice clearly again. I will know the difference between His whisper and the enemy's noise. I will know the difference between conviction and condemnation. I will know the difference between wisdom and torment. Before tomorrow arrives, the grip is breaking. Say it as a wall rising around you. Before tomorrow arrives, the grip is breaking. Before tomorrow arrives, fear is being silenced. Before tomorrow arrives, peace is returning. Before tomorrow arrives, the small doors are closing. Before tomorrow arrives, the old weight is losing authority. Before tomorrow arrives, I am not entering the new day chained to the last one. I receive the covering of God. I receive the lifting of God. I receive the peace of God. I receive the strength beneath surrender. And now, my child, open your hands. Do not clench them around what I am asking you to release. Do not strive to finish what only I can complete. Receive. Breathe. Let the words you have spoken settle like light inside you. I began this work before you knew how to name the battle, and I will finish what I have begun. The resistance is losing its grip. Your peace is not gone. Your voice is not buried. Your tomorrow is not owned by the pressure of tonight. Stay open before me now, because I am about to cover you in prayer, and what I break, no darkness has the authority to rebuild. Father, in this holy moment, before this night is over, and before tomorrow opens its eyes over this child, I ask you to place your hand upon the hidden places. Let the grip break now. Let the resistance that is pressed against the mind, the emotions, the body, the home, the sleep, the decisions, and the future lose its authority under the power of your presence. Let every weight that followed them into this moment be exposed by your light. Let every pressure that tried to disguise itself as responsibility, every fear that tried to call itself wisdom, every accusation that tried to sound like truth, and every heaviness that tried to become familiar, be broken beneath the authority of your name. Father, I ask you to move through the rooms of their heart tonight. Go where no one else can see. Touch the wound they learned to hide. Touch the fear they learned to manage. Touch the disappointment they stopped talking about. Touch the fatigue that has sat deep in their bones. Touch the place where prayer became difficult, where hope became cautious, where trust became tired, where silence became easier than explaining. Do not let the enemy build a hiding place in any unhealed pain. Pour oil into the places that were pierced. Pour mercy into the places that were ashamed. Pour warmth into the places that became numb. Let healing move gently but surely, not as a distant promise, but as a present covering. Close every small door, Father. Every door open through fear, close it. Every door open through bitterness, close it. Every door open through exhaustion, distraction, careless agreement, unguarded words, hidden resentment, comparison, despair, or old grief. Close it by your mercy, not to condemn your child, but to free them, not to shame them, but to restore them, not to make them afraid, but to teach them how guarded and precious their peace truly is. Let every crack be sealed by your truth. Let every opening be covered by your blood. Let every access point the resistance used to drain them be shut before morning comes. Silence every accusing voice tonight. Silence the voice that says they are too far gone. Silence the voice that says they missed their moment. Silence the voice that says they are weak because they are weary. Silence the voice that says, you have forgotten them. Silence the voice that says, tomorrow must carry the same fear as yesterday. Father, let your voice rise louder than every lie. Let your whisper become clear again. Let your child know the difference between conviction and condemnation, between wisdom and torment, between warning and panic, between your correction and the enemy's cruelty. Restore their spiritual breath. Let prayer breathe again in them. Let faith breathe again in them. Let worship breathe again in them. Cover them through the night. Guard their sleep. Guard their dreams. Guard their thoughts when the room grows quiet and the mind tries to wander back toward fear. Place peace at the doorway of their heart. Place peace over their body. Place peace over their nervous system, over their breathing, over their rest, over the place in them that has been bracing for too long. Let them lie down under a covering they do not have to earn. Let them sleep as one who belongs to you. Let them wake not with dread sitting on their chest, but with mercy meeting them before any other voice can speak. Father, guard their family, guard the people connected to their life, guard their home from confusion, division, heaviness, and unseen pressure. Let the atmosphere around them be changed by your presence. Let peace enter the rooms where worry has been pacing. Let kindness return where irritation has tried to grow. Let patience rise where exhaustion has made words sharp. Let protection rest upon every loved one, every child, every spouse, every parent, every sibling, every friend, every person they have quietly carried in prayer. Cover what they cannot control, reach where their hands cannot reach, move where their words cannot go. Guard their decisions, Father. Do not let panic lead them. Do not let old wounds choose for them. Do not let fear dress itself as urgency and push them into steps you have not ordered. Give them discernment. Give them steadiness. Give them the courage to wait when you say wait, to move when you say move, to release what you ask them to release, and to receive what you are placing in their hands. Let their tomorrow be guided by your Spirit, not by the pressure of this night. Let their future be covered by your wisdom, not chained to the resistance that tried to follow them here. And I declare over this child now, the resistance that followed them into this moment will not have permission to follow them into the new morning with the same grip. It may make noise, but it will not rule. It may knock, but it will not enter through the doors you have closed. It may accuse, but it will not define. It may remind them of yesterday, but it will not own tomorrow. The grip is breaking. The wall is rising. Peace is taking its place. Strength is returning beneath surrender. Discernment is awakening. Faith is breathing again. Father, seal this work. Let what you have exposed not return to darkness. Let what you have healed not be reopened by shame. Let what you have lifted not be picked up again in fear. Teach this child to rest under your hand, to walk under your covering, to speak from agreement, and to carry peace as a testimony. They have been seen, they have been warned, they have been cleansed, they have been strengthened, they have been commissioned, and now they are prayed over, covered, and held by the one who never sleeps. In the name of Jesus, let the grip break before this night is over. In the name of Jesus, let peace surround them beyond explanation. In the name of Jesus, let strength rise quietly and surely. In the name of Jesus, let discernment become clear, faith become steady, and hope become alive again. Bless them with rest. Bless them with protection. Bless them with courage. Bless them with a clean heart and a guarded mind. Bless them with the deep knowing that they are not alone. Amen. And now, my beloved child, seal this word with agreement. Do not let this moment pass as though it were only something you listened to in the night. Let your heart answer. Let your faith rise quietly and place a mark of agreement where fear tried to place a mark of defeat. If this prayer has touched the hidden place in you, if you know resistance has been pressing against your peace, write these words with faith. Before tomorrow arrives, resistance loses power in my life. Do not write it as empty words. Write it as agreement. Write it as a witness that you are no longer silently accepting the grip that has tried to follow you. Write it as a line drawn in the spirit. Before tomorrow arrives, resistance loses power in my life. Let that declaration stand where your fear once stood. Let it speak over your night, over your mind, over your home, over your sleep, over your tomorrow. Heaven sees agreement. I see the heart that says, Father, I receive what you are doing in me. And if there is a specific place where resistance has been pressing against you, leave your prayer request below. Name the area if you can, your mind, your body, your family, your sleep, your work, your finances, your heart, your decisions, your faith. You do not need to explain everything. I already know what the pressure has felt like, but when my children bring their burdens into the light, shame loses its hiding place. Let this become a place of prayer, not performance. Let others stand with you. Let compassion gather around the places where you have been tired. If this prayer helped you feel seen, strengthened, and covered, touch the like button as a simple act of agreement with the peace I am releasing, not as a small motion only, but as a quiet yes. Yes, Father, I receive your peace. Yes, Father, I believe the grip is breaking. Yes, Father, I will not carry this into tomorrow the same way. and subscribe so you can continue receiving prayer-filled messages that help you stay awake, guarded, and encouraged through hidden battles. My child, you need reminders when the night grows loud. You need words that turn your heart back toward me, that help you close the small doors, that call your spirit to breathe again. And share this with someone who has been tired, delayed, or quietly fighting resistance. Do not think of it as promotion. Think of it as intercession. Send peace into someone else's night. Place a lamp where darkness has been speaking too long. May you sleep under peace tonight. May you wake with strength. May you enter tomorrow knowing the grip has already begun to break.